This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks are ready for round 2 with the Philadelphia 76ers. This time, it's in Philadelphia. The Knicks couldn't get it done at home. Maybe a tough task for them to get it done in Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, the Knicks are they're on the road. They begin a 7-game road trip tonight. It's going to be a difficult one, ladies and gentlemen, but let's get into it. The New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. I got my man Andy in the building, and we're going to go ahead and start to break this one down. Tony Crow will be joining us shortly. He's finishing up his conversation with New Generation Media. They just did a nice breakdown of potential draft picks for the New York Knicks. So if you haven't been able to watch that, go ahead over and check that out after this show. All right, this is the Game Day pregame show, ladies and gentlemen. For all of your up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you go to thegameday.com where you can find betting odds from all of your favorite betting platforms. So let me get into it. Andy, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Yo, what up, Sim? I'm happy I'm with you on this pregame show. I'm not happy about the opponent. But what you can do, man? You got to take them as they come, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, the Knicks lost 125-109 in the previous game. Now they got to face Philadelphia again. James Harden went off in the previous game, and I don't see the Knicks putting together any kind of strategy that's going to stop James Harden from going off again. That being said, for the first 3 quarters, the Knicks played a very good basketball game. Then in the fourth quarter, it just straight up collapsed.
Yeah, Sim, I think that the biggest problem for the Knicks was, of course, defending the pick and roll between Harden and Embiid, right? I'm thinking that that's the main key and focus that they were watching tapes on and, assorting the defensive tactics from that game. That's what you got to do as a priority, right? And for me, the solution of that is the help defense on the roll man, right? That's the only thing that basically you can do. If you're gonna get beat by the shooters that they have, let it be. But if you're gonna, lose again to a 2-man, duo that's gonna be shooting like 70 free throws a game, man, I don't think any team can afford, to try to match up with that.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks shot a lot of free throws in the previous game too. Right, but they're not making their free throws. But I think you're exactly right. Figuring out how to defend that screen and roll is a key to this basketball game. We've seen several times in the last game where, James Harden will get a screen from Joel Embiid, come off the screen, and there was nobody helping Mitch. Right? Someone's got to be there on the backside to help Mitch because Mitch is going to hedge over on Harden. Joel Embiid is going to roll free. Someone's got to help. You can see if you go back and you look at one of the prime examples was Julius Randle not coming to help. Right? And it can't be last minute. You got to see it and know that I'm going to get ready to step in. Right? And you can't think to yourself, well, if I step in, then they're going to kick it to my guy for 3. Now I got to rotate back out. That's just how basketball works. You got to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's how you play team defense. We'll see if the Knicks make any adjustments in that regard tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. You know, Steph, how you doing? How you doing today?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam. When you said shout out to you, Sam, the chat, Andy, you said in the beginning, the Knicks did good in the first 3 quarters. Sam, this has been the issue with the Knicks, closing games. You know, so I can't even get encouraged when we're close within striking distance, because I'm always thinking, are we going to be able to close out this game? And right now, I'm not very confident in the Knicks closing. I know Fournier talked about lack of confidence and not knowing who to go to down the stretch or something like that. But by this point in the season, you should have had that figured out.
Right. You should have. You should have had that figured out. Yeah, I mean, you should have had that figured out by this point in the season. You know, who you're going to go to or what plays are going to be called, you know, how you're going to handle certain situations. And it just doesn't seem like they have it figured out at all, or sometimes even have a clue what to do. And this is, it's like the game reaches 6-7 minutes. And when the starters come back on the floor, it's like they're already second guessing themselves.
Right.
And whether or not they can be successful.
Right.
You know, because they don't know where to go or what to do with the basketball. And, you know, obviously that poses a big issue when you talk about winning basketball games.
Do you think with RJ's recent emergence that might be, I'm not going to say hurting them down the stretch, but, you know, when Fournier talked about not knowing where to go to or what they want to do, you think that could be part of it? Like, do we go to Randall? Do we go to RJ? How should we approach this?
You know, I think, and obviously not blaming RJ, right? But I think it is a part of it. You know what I mean? Because now something new has emerged, and you know, you've been doing one thing, now something, and that wasn't working. Now something new has emerged, and you got to figure, okay, do we continue to do that one thing, although it's not working, or do we focus totally in on RJ? Yeah, I think it's all up in the air. I think it's up in the air. They're not sure where to go. Andy, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, since Sim, you threw the first punch at RJ, I'm gonna just follow up. So if anybody wants to jump on Sim, don't put me on it. But listen, it's like Sim said, we saw the emergence of RJ. He was, you know, having great games offensively, but till the end of the games, I don't know if you guys felt it the way I saw it. RJ was trying to make plays for his teammates, right? And I think maybe not that they weren't expecting it, that they were thinking that he's just gonna roll to the cup and do it like he always did through the whole game. I think we had plenty of turnovers because RJ was really trying to get someone else involved, right? And maybe that was the thing, that you can't win the game alone. Just try to look for someone. And he was literally driving, and normally he would take a shot, then he was passing out. And, you know, I think that's like one of the things that Sim was talking about, that there's something new that we aren't accustomed to, we aren't used to. Just to throw another thing out, I think, and this might sound silly, but for me, only guy that would probably know what to do would be Quentin Grimes. That boy, if he gets the ball, he knows he has to shoot it, and he ain't gonna hesitate even a split second. So I think if he had the open, you know, shot, and he, you know, had the ball, he got the ball, I think he wouldn't, you know, hesitate, and he wouldn't like second guess himself or anyone else, right? You know, tough luck that he's injured, and we don't have him and his decision making down the stretch. So we got to roll with, you know, with the rest of the guys.
Yeah. And listen, I wasn't coming at RJ. You know, like I'm not blaming him for that. You know what I'm saying? He's doing what he's supposed to do. Just saying, you know, now the team, you know, so don't throw darts at me, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't trying to come at RJ with that. I wasn't trying to come at Tony. What's going on with you, man? What's popping?
What's going on, Slim?
What's your initial thoughts
Sorry,
on
I'm
this
late.
game? No problem. What's your
Had to close
initial
out.
thoughts on this game?
What was the initial question? I heard the tail end of Queen. Salute Queen. Salute Andy. Salute chat. What was the initial question though?
It wasn't a real initial question. It really was just your thoughts on the game, and we were talking about fourth quarter execution and why the Knicks are kind of you just don't know what to do in the fourth quarter.
As far as the last game, one of the things that was troublesome, I didn't get to watch it live, but I did watch it last night, and it was definitely a great game, a well fought game by the Knicks. Fournier really kept us in the game, second, third quarter, and I think he might have got 2 shots in the fourth. Might not have even took a shot, but it wasn't more than 2. And wait, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Randall only took 2 shots.
I think
right?
Randall took 2, maybe 3 shots in the fourth quarter. I think he was 0 for 3.
Yeah, but I didn't see that same urgency of even looking for Fournier down the stretch, and that has seemed to be part of the trend with the team. He hasn't been, and I'm not blaming Fournier. I think we got to make a conscious effort to look for him down the stretch, especially when he has it going throughout the game. So I think that's one of the things that stood out. I love what RJ's doing. Great game from him. Randall, again, it's been the same thing all year with the fourth quarter, lack of production or turnovers or missed free throws. He just has to figure out how to produce down in the fourth. But we can't forget about Fournier as an option as well, because I really liked his game last night, and I really like Fournier's game as of late.
Yeah. And by the way, RJ Barrett here, I think he was 4 for 6 in the fourth quarter. Then Emmanuel quickly, he took a bunch of shots in the fourth quarter as well, because he got hot.
Randall was 0 for 2, right?
0 for 3, I think.
0 for 3.
Yeah, I think he was 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter. So. I don't know, that fourth quarter execution, man, it's been killing the Knicks all season long. Let's take a look at the injury report for tonight. It's pretty much the same as it was previous game. Quentin Grimes is out. Derrick Rose, surgery on his right ankle. Kemba Walker, he's not with the team. And for the Philadelphia 76ers, they're fully healthy, ladies and gentlemen. So there you got it. They are fully healthy. So we expect the starting lineups are going to be the same. Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. And for the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. All right. We broke down these matchups in the last game. So what I want to ask you is a little bit different. Right. I want to talk about how you've seen these matchups the last game. And what do you think, how the Knicks should match up this game, and how you think, what do the Knicks need to do to take advantage of any matchups they might have, or negate any disadvantages they might have. All right, and we'll put the defensive matchups on the board. Alec Burks and Tyrese Maxey, Evan Fournier, Matisse Thybulle, RJ Barrett, James Harden, Julius Randle, on Tobias Harris, Mitchell Robinson, on Joel Embiid. Steph, I'll begin with you.
Wow, this is a tough question, Sim, because offensively, well, I guess that's not true. Like Thybulle is probably not going to kill you offensively. Do you start double teaming Embiid right off the bat? Probably the way they run their offense, they may have Thybulle on the other side of the court, right? So that you can't double team with his guy. I mean, I would start off letting Mitchell try to guard Embiid and see how he does. It's kind of hard to. Do you want to double Harden out? When he gets across half court, I think I would just start straight up and make adjustments as it goes along. In terms of double team and taking the ball out of Harden's hand, with a double team.
Yeah.
But
And I'm a person that I don't think Tom Thibodeau does enough. I don't think he varies the defense enough. Right? It's just straight up man-to-man defense. You know what I mean? And I would like to see him throw 2 guys at James Harden before he crosses half court or when he crosses half court. Early in the game instead of waiting until the last 2 minutes if you're down 5 or something like that. Get the ball out of his hands and make Tyrese Maxey have to create for other people. Or whoever else, Matisse Thybulle. Make them have to do something. Not saying that it's going to work, but the Knicks are so predictable on the offensive side and the defensive side. It's just easy to game plan for them.
Yeah.
And how you're going to attack their defense because they simply just play man to man. And I think offenses are too good nowadays to only play one defense. I think you have to nowadays play different defenses, switch up your defenses, make the offense have to think a little bit. And Tom Thibodeau just doesn't do it at all. I don't know if he's not confident in the players that he has on the team and that they could execute the rotations, or he's just stubborn and like, we're just going to play man-to-man. We can get it done with man-to-man, I don't know. Tony, you were going to say something.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me about doubling James early is when he really started picking us apart at the end of the game. I don't want to give him that opportunity to do that early, and then it kind of becomes like a wash from the beginning. You know what I mean? From the beginning of the game, I would lean more towards doubling Joel, kind of taking your chance with Harden 1-on-1, and taking your chance that a Thybulle beats you. Not so much Maxey, but he would be the next guy, or even Harris. Make Harris, he had a horrible game. Make him beat you. You know what I mean?
He's capable though.
He is capable, absolutely. But I just, it's scary to me to let James Harden start figuring the game out early, because that, now you got the whole game where he could just torch you. Just make him work hard one-on-one. I wouldn't be opposed to that. One thing I did notice last game that I didn't mention, a little while ago, I feel like RJ was getting knocked around all game with no call, and I feel like it was a lot of ticky-tack fouls, against us. You could argue they were fouls, but the calls weren't the same evenly, even if the free throw disparity wasn't that large. You know what I mean? Like, we did get to the line a lot, but I felt like we had to earn it before they even started getting us the calls. And a lot of those were like penalty situations because there were a lot of fouls called, but I think they missed a lot. So hopefully we could get a better evenly called game, because I think, our bigs going out like constantly, that really hurt us. So hopefully our bigs could stay out of foul trouble. I think we'll have a shot.
See, and I'd like to comment on, what you were talking about with the Knicks, maybe throwing a trap early at James Harden. This is why I think you mix up your defenses so that you don't get used to one thing. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 or 3 possessions, you come down and you throw an early trap. Before he figures out, or the 76ers figured out how they're going to break that trap, you take it off. You know what I mean? Right. Or if they call a timeout to say, okay, what are we going to do to break this trap? How do we want to address this? You take it off when you come out of the timeout. And then instead of throwing that double team at James Harden, you throw it at Joel Embiid now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing, the Miami Heat do it really, really well. And I know the Knicks don't have the same players that the Miami Heat do, but they do it really, really well. They mix up their defenses so much. And a team like the Knicks, who don't really have a point guard out there that has a high basketball IQ, are going to get confused easy on how to attack the different defenses. You know what I mean? And I think it's key in today's NBA because like you said, Tony, a guy like James Harden, if you stick with one defense, it's going to figure out how to pick it apart and eventually destroy you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, first Sim, when Steph was saying, Tibbs might, try to do this and see adjustments. First, I checked the schedule if we're playing again the 76ers this season, because we know how Tibbs makes adjustments from game to game. That's barely. So I was thinking maybe she was talking another game of the 76ers that we're going to make that adjustment. But Sim, to be true, I'm with you on the switching up the tactics on defense, throwing a couple of possessions, this kind of defense, that kind of defense, trying to get the ball out of Harden's hands just as soon as he tries to pass the midcourt. Listen, at this point, we got nothing else to do unless we're talking about putting in Deuce McBride and leaning on a rookie to save us, versus a title contender, right? So.
Right.
That's basically anything that you can do, but still I don't see it. I don't see Tibbs making that kind of adjustment that he's gonna swap in the defenses, couple of positions here, couple of positions there. I'm still not sure if he's gonna do that even in halftime, so he can adjust it. We know how stubborn he is. So that listen, I think maybe if a player like D-Rose said, "Listen, coach, we gotta switch it up. Let us at least try it this couple of possessions," and maybe he would be like, "Okay, I got nothing to lose. Just try it, and we're gonna see how that's gonna roll." But since D-Rose isn't active on the court, I don't think any of these players has the cachet. I don't think he's gonna listen to Randall if Randall is gonna be talking about defense, and I don't think RJ has that kind of a stature for Tibbs to ask him for adjustments being made.
What about Taj? I mean, I know he's not on the floor.
Taj didn't get burned. Taj didn't get burned last game, so
I know he's not on the floor, but he can from the sideline say, "Hey, coach, got not there."
Well,
Then
he has 4 or 5 assistant coaches, so he should be, he should be listening at least to those guys, man.
Right.
He doesn't want to listen to the rest of us, right? So
matchup.
It's hard.
Yeah, one matchup that I think we should look at is that Julius Randle and Tobias Harris, because Tobias Harris wasn't really in the flow of the game, previous game, right? And, this is something that the 76ers are probably trying to figure out. How do you get James Harden, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid all on the same page at the same time? We might look for or really pay attention to the 76ers trying to focus in on Tobias Harris a little bit. Because the last game, I'm not going to say they iced him out. I don't think they iced him out. It's just that's the way that the game flowed, right? He didn't get as many touches. I think at halftime, he got more touches in the second half. I think at halftime, maybe he was held scoreless and only shot the ball 3 times or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I'd be looking for Philadelphia to try and get Tobias Harris involved a little bit more from the beginning of the game. Then that's going to be on Julius Randle to have to, step up and defend Tobias Harris. And Tobias Harris can take it inside, outside. He can go from mid-range. He can do just about everything out there on the floor. Last game, he had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Not a bad stat line for Tobias Harris, but I think for the season, he's averaging 18 points a game, getting way more touches with the basketball. I would think Philadelphia may be looking to get him involved a little bit more. Yeah, normally 15 touches a game, shot attempts a game for Tobias Harris. Steph, concerned anywhere, any concerned at all about that matchup?
Well, yeah, in the sense that, one, we don't know which Randall is going to show up. And 2, I do think they're going to make a concerted effort to get him involved. They talked about it, or at least the commentators talked about it. That was just the second game Harden played when we played them. And so they're still trying to find their rhythm. And obviously they're going to be a better team if they get everybody involved. So I do think probably, I'm not sure how many games they've played since then. I'm pretty sure they're going to make a concerted effort to get him more involved. If the Randall that was on the West Coast trip shows up, I'm not worried. But if it's the Randall after the All-Star break, could be a problem.
You know, the Randall after the All-Star break. That's I don't know about Tony. What's your thoughts about that? Tobias Harris, Julius Randle.
I think Randall usually wins that matchup over his tenure with the Knicks. I think the first year they was kind of going back and forth a little bit, but ever since then, I think Randall has dominated. I'm going with Randall. I do think we won't see such a lackluster Harris tonight, but I'd rather he be the guy that has to kind of kill us. If we could contain the other two guys, I think it's a win. So I'm going with Randall though. I think he got the advantage.
Yeah, you know, the one thing with Tobias Harris, I don't know if he holds anything against Julius Randle, you know, or maybe they have a little bit of a rivalry going on. I remember last season when Randle made the All-Star team and the Knicks were in Philly and Tobias Harris knocked down a big shot to lead Philly to a win, you know, and he was like, who's the All-Star? Who's the All-Star? You know, he may have a little rivalry going on with Julius Randle. You know what I'm saying?
Personal rivalry.
Little personal rivalry going on with Randle. Andy, any thoughts on it?
Yes, Sim. Listen, like I said before on the opening, I think that the most important thing for the Knicks would be to defend the pick and roll between Harden and Embiid, and that basically means that Julius has to step in to defend Embiid, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to mean that probably Harris is going to be open, and like Tony said, that we should try to stop the pick and roll and try to live with a tie ball, Harris trying to beat us, right? Problem is, maybe Tybalt can beat you, but Harris definitely can. We saw 30, 40-point games from that dude.
You mean Maxey?
No, Maxey, that's a whole different story because he's benefiting off of Harden way, way more than I was expecting. I was thinking that he might even, lose his touches and stuff like that. I think, Maxey might have shown Harden a couple of clubs down there in Philly. He's like his pupil there, right? They're like best friends. So I'm surprised about Maxey, getting that many attempts and stuff like that. I think that it probably is going to go a little bit down and move the offense move towards Harris because they're going to need that spread offense in the playoffs. There's still like 20 games left in the season. They got to do it before they head into the playoffs because that bench of the 76ers after that trade is not that deep. So they need to have that starting lineup fully intact. And listen, Sim, the other thing, it's like Steph said, if we're going to see a Randall that's not engaged in the game, what better chance to get Harris rolling versus a sleepy Randall?
Right.
So that might be a problem.
No. I'm with you 100%. And then I guess let's talk about Embiid a little bit because Joel Embiid in the last game did Joel Embiid things. Him and James Harden look like a duo that's going to be a problem in the Eastern Conference. But of course, the Knicks suffered a lot of foul trouble with Mitchell Robinson and Jericho Sims. Do you see the same thing happening tonight, Andy, with Mitchell Robinson and Jericho Sims getting in foul trouble and forcing the Knicks to have to play small?
Well, Sim, going into the game, I'm not expecting Nerlens Noel to, be available. He might be dressed, but he's not going to probably play. But at least if Tibbs is looking for a W here, and we're going to see quick fouls from Mitch and from Sims, I'm expecting Taj to see the floor because going small with Randall on Embiid, that's nothing pretty to watch. So I'm hoping, Taj is going to be on that bike in the tunnel and being ready for even a spot minutes, right? At least spot minutes. I would rather see that than getting abused, with Embiid and Randall being at the 5. So Sim, yeah, I envision those guys getting into foul trouble. Two young guys versus probably MVP candidate with a great, pick and roll partner. So those guys going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Andy. Do you continue to tell Mitch to hedge that role? When James Harden is coming off that screen, are you going to tell Mitch to hedge, or are you going to tell Mitch to stay with Embiid and force RJ to catch up to Harden?
Or Fournier, right?
Or Fournier. It's really difficult because Joel Embiid sets good screens, right?
Yeah.
So when he sets that screen, now you're asking RJ to fight over that screen and catch up to James Harden. I don't know if you can. And if Philadelphia is smart, I don't remember the play exactly, but if Philadelphia is smart, they're either going to have a really, really good shooter in that corner. So the person who's guarding the shooter in the corner is not going to come off, right? Because they're afraid that person's going to knock it down. It might be Tobias. Well, yeah. Oh, I don't know. From when I look at that play, I think, anyway, it
was Maxey. Maxey was in that corner a lot.
Maxey in that corner. Okay.
Had a wide open lane to the basket.
Yeah. So
Doris was talking about that.
Right. So if you're smart, you're gonna have that kind of guy in the corner, a guy that can knock down that shot in the corner or attack the baseline. So that person's not gonna want to come off that corner. Or you're not gonna have anyone in the corner, and you're gonna isolate Embiid and Joel Embiid and James Harden on one side of the floor. Which, if you at that point you don't hedge, James Harden is probably gonna get to the cup with ease, right?
Yes, and
so what are you doing?
My tactic.
That's why it's deadly.
Yeah, exactly. And so my tactic going into the game versus just the game before we played him, right? My tactic would be to set up the defender of Harden so high, like letting him know that he just can't get over the pick, meaning that I'm just gonna close that route and basically open the lane for him and expect Mitch to try to get that block, and the defender of Harden should roll so Embiid can't get a pass down low. Embiid's not that athletic that he's going to be looking for those alley-oops, right? Mm-hmm. So he's probably going to get that pass down low. And, a guy like RJ or Fournier should be just rolling to the cup between, Harden and Embiid and not allowing that pass to be a bounce pass. That's the only thing you can do. Unless that doesn't work, then you got to adjust again.
Yeah. I see G Dubs 87 in the chat. He said, you have to make the shooter beat us. So basically he's saying, let that person come off the shooter, help out on James Harden. Harden's going to kick it to the shooter and make that shooter have to knock it down from that short corner. I mean, it's the lower percentage shot, I guess, right? It's the lowest percentage shot, but man, guys can knock that. I mean, that's the shortest 3-point shot on the floor. Guys can knock it down.
And he will be wide open.
Wide open.
I mean, the only reason, here's the question. Would you rather a wide open shot from not Embiid and not Harden, or maybe contested shot from Embiid or Harden in their sweet spots, pretty much? You know what I mean?
Depends on who that shooter is over in the corner, man.
Yeah.
If they're a really accurate shooter from that short corner, not short corner, but from the corner, 3-point range from the corner, I don't know. It's tough, man, because that might be automatic
from everybody except Green. I mean, Maxey is
every time I see Green, he missing a shot.
Maxey has improved, but I think you kind of live with it. Make him make it a couple times. Thibault, right. That's his MO. You could kind of leave him open at times.
But Thibault will be on the other side of the pick and roll. Yeah. I think they run it, so that Thibault is not the shooter.
Not the shooter, right? Yes.
Listen, Sim, I could live with that, but firstly, I'm trying to stop the pick and roll, because if we're just gonna leave these guys open from like the first minute of the game and they make a couple of those first threes, then we're in a hole. It's digging out of the whole game, catching up. Oh man, that's not gonna be pretty. So I rather try to live with even the foul shots, the foul troubles, and be close through 3 quarters, and then just hope if we leave those guys open, then they ain't gonna make them. So
I'm gonna tell you what. This might be the worst case of pick your poison you can have.
yeah.
We thought Atlanta was bad, right?
Right. The worst case of pick your poison you can have. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Game Day pregame show. Please make sure you go to thegameday.com. There's a link in the description of this video where you can get all of your up-to-date sports content and betting odds. Let me get you a phone call real quick, and we're going to break down the team comparison. Look at the numbers from the previous game. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Salute. Recap of the S.
My man.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody rocking with that orange and blue, staying loyal as we are, as the people with the New York Knicks. That's why you're so great. Shout out to this fantastic core that's on this screen right here. If this was a golf situation, this would be the Masters. All 4 of these people that y'all listening to and watching deserve the green jacket. You know what I'm saying? This is part 2, round 2. We just played Philly the other day. Now we back at them. I heard y'all talking about what we're going to do against the high screen. No, it's time for Julius. Stop acting like the big bully inside the park that took off your shirt and you try to make people think they were scared of you and you really couldn't fight. Start laying wood. Start touching up these people. Stop letting it be so easy for everybody. They're too comfortable. They're too easy, you know what I'm saying? And besides that, you're making the game more easier for them. If you can't beat them up. That was our old lingo. I don't care about how the rules have changed and none of that. Let us know that you're not playing. No more tonight with Philadelphia. When you play against a flawless team like this, you got to almost play 100% effort, because the talent is better, the effort is better, the team is better, the organization is better, and don't forget they got 2 elite all-stars, so we don't have time to be dealing with turnovers all night long. We don't have time for not diving on the floor, getting the loose balls. We don't have time for people when James coming through the lane, take charges, do something different, let them know, switch it up some type of way. Tom, you played some players the other night, but to me that don't carry over to you playing the young guy. You playing these guys because people are injured. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this. I still see Kevin Knox playing, because if it was injury prone, Kevin Knox would have been playing now. That's the same thing you're doing with Cam. Give this man some rhythm. Give him some light. You know what I'm saying? Let him perform. Let him get on the floor. You know what I'm saying? You got to use these guys to get the other guys breather. God bless to the Gotham City return. Everybody wait for the movie. Nah, I saw RJ. That's my Gotham City right there. He done came to the city and he's letting everybody know, I'm here now. I'm on the rise and I'm coming. Prepare for me. I'm making my way. And what's good about it, people work on their games during the off season, but pay attention. RJ is working on his game in game. So that's how you know he's developing. You're seeing what he's working on. You're seeing his ins, his out, his cuts, his direct moves, his angles, everything he's doing is in game. And he's just practicing it and practicing. He's showing it to you on the floor, man. So I'm happy in the situation we in, but I just want to share something else with it. We need that point guard. If we get that number 1 pick, I don't want to pick the best player. Slide back a little bit and get the best need, the best fit. And it's 2 dudes that I want inside this draft. If I can't get the next coming to John Morant with Ivy out Purdue, it's another boy out there in Nebraska. His name is Bryce McDowell. I texted inside in the Tony Crow show, let you know the boy had 24 against NC State. The boy had 26 against Ohio State. The boy had 24 against Michigan. The boy had 23 points against Wisconsin. Everybody talking about this dude. The boy had 20 points against Indiana. The boy had 19 points against Illinois. Those are all big name schools that all those games been on TV. You know what I'm saying? The boy is 6'7", lethal dude. Nobody not talking about this dude, but we need a certified point guard that can lead us to the future. I don't care about everybody talking about Alexander. Alexander, you want to come over here? Stop acting like you faking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I respect about James Harden. He let everybody know not once but twice. I want up out of here, Houston. I want up out of here, New Jersey. Get me up out of here. But you shooting posters and standing all over the court talking about you want to be here. Tell them people to send you over here. Tell them you only want to go play to the Knicks. But stop faking with me. Stop faking with the podcasters. Stop faking with the chat. Stop faking with us. You want to come over here? Come on over here. But stop acting like you want to come, but you don't want to come. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody that want to be here and want to play here for the future, and not just want to come here and get a check, and not want to be around because it's a big name opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody that want to be here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody rocking with the Sim Show. Hit that like button. Respect, appreciating what they're doing. And shout out to Tony Cole. I watched that show too. I like that show, and I know, you know what I'm saying, no matter the great podcast, Miss Lauren Hill, she coming on. I'm waiting on Andy to drop his show, but if he don't drop his show, I see him right here. He's still in the show. But God bless to everybody. I hope everybody continue to stay healthy and safe. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's.
Peace. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Only on the Game Day pregame show. Only on the Game Day pregame show. Let's get to the team.
J-Boogie should be getting in the Knicks locker room and hyping those guys up.
I'm telling you. Seriously. Previous game, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks lost 125-109. The Knicks, they won the rebounding battle, 47-43. Wasn't enough, but they won the rebounding battle. I mean, that's at least one key. You can hopefully hang your head on that. Even with Mitch not playing, got into foul trouble. Jericho Sims had 10 rebounds, right? Kind of goes overlooked. 0 points, but 10 rebounds from Jericho Sims, right? The Knicks will continue to need, they still need to win the rebounding battle. Only 21 assists for the Knicks, 6 steals, 2 blocks, 18 turnovers in the last game.
Which is not Nick-like. Well, I don't know about lately, though, but
man, that's true.
Usually.
Right. I mean, 18 turnovers. You're not gonna beat the Philadelphia 76ers on most nights if you have 18 turnovers, because they're gonna capitalize on it. Now that they got James Harden and Joel Embiid out there with Tobias Harris, they're gonna capitalize on that. You're gonna be in trouble. The Knicks shot 44.7% from the field, 33% from 3, and only 63% from the free throw line. And they shot a lot of free throws, but only 63% from the free throw line. Philadelphia, 125 points, 43 rebounds, 28 assists, 13 steals. 13 steals for Philadelphia. 5 blocks, only 10 turnovers. Took care of the basketball. Shot 48% from the field, but only 30% from 3. And they shot 88.6% from the free throw line. I wouldn't count on the 76ers only shooting 30% from 3. They're not. Well, I don't know. I think they came into the game maybe shooting 37% from the 3-point line. I don't remember. But
can I add one, Sim?
Yeah.
Points in the paint, we were only down 2, 48-50, which I thought there would be a bigger discrepancy.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, so I guess that tells you that you can go, you can get to the paint and score against Philadelphia in the paint. And maybe it's because Joel Embiid doesn't want to pick up fouls knowing they don't have a backup center to throw out there on the floor. So, he may not be trying to get as many blocks, or playing as aggressive when the Knicks get to the basket. Might be something the Knicks can pay attention to and try to take advantage of. Anything about these numbers stand out to you, Tony?
I'm sorry, I lost track. I was text messaging. Say it again.
Well, really, we just went over some stats from the game, from the previous game.
Oh, all right, I got you. Because you talk about the the team stats.
Yeah.
Turnovers, honestly, that's the killer. Turnovers, 18 turnovers. The rebounding was great, and I was saying Jericho Sims kind of set the tone there with 9 in the first quarter. I think he only had 10 for the game, but that's still 10 for the game. 9 in the first quarter, he set the tone. Love his energy, tapping balls out for at least a extra opportunity, whether we got the tip or not. But it's keeping away from the initial the initial guy trying to get the rebound from him. But yeah, if we keep the turnovers back to where we were pacing early in the year, like 13, 12 range or less, and obviously if we could hit some free throws, because I think this was one of our worst free throw games as a team, and I think we could be right there in the game. I mean, we could have been right there in a lot of games this year.
Right.
We were right there in a lot of
with free
games.
throws and turnovers. So it's been the story of the season to me.
Yeah. I mean, turnovers for the Knicks. I think they had in the second half, they had 4. It's crazy. No, wait a minute. The Knicks had 7 turnovers in the second half of the game. So they had 11 turnovers in the first half. In the second half of the game, those turnovers, they really only had 1 in the fourth quarter. So it came down to shooting.
Wow.
They had 1 turnover in the fourth quarter. It came down to shooting. The Knicks shot 36% from the field and 11% from the three-point line in the fourth quarter in the last game.
What was the free throw percentage?
Free throw percentage, they only went to the line once. They went to the line
They only
once
went to the
in
line
fourth.
once. Okay.
That was quickly. They were 1 for 1 in the fourth quarter. They got out-rebounded 15-9. They even
And
took more shots.
They put them on the line a lot, though.
Yeah, they put them on the line 12 times. And the Knicks even took more shots in the fourth quarter. The Knicks were 9 for 25 from the field in the fourth. They took the same amount of threes. Philadelphia was 4 for 9 from the three-point line. The Knicks were 1 for 9. It came down to efficiency.
That's it.
Came down to efficiency.
And then for whatever reason, I remember us getting to the line a lot, but for whatever reason in that fourth quarter, we didn't.
Right, we didn't. Yep, came down to efficiency. Yeah, I mean, look, the Knicks shot 47% in the third quarter and 40% from the three-point line in the third quarter. And they had 6 turnovers in the third quarter, but they scored 33 points, and Philadelphia only scored 26. Right, and then in the first half, the Knicks shot well. The Knicks shot 48.8% from the field in the first half, and they shot 43% from the three-point line in the first half, and they had 11 turnovers. Fourth quarter, 1 turnover, but they can't shoot the ball for nothing.
Sim, who was our most efficient shooter in that game?
For the game? Give me a second. Let me get that up here.
Mitch.
Oh,
Besides Mitch.
Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier shot 50.
Yeah, I was thinking so.
56%. Obi Toppin shot 60%, but he was 3 for 5. Evan Fournier took 16 shot attempts, so he shot 56.3%.
Should have been riding that hot hand.
Yeah, especially in the fourth. I mean, he helped.
Right.
He kept us in the game single-handedly in the third and late in the second, in my opinion.
All right. Yeah. The matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be R.J. Barrett and James Harden. The Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. All right, you can go to thrivefantasy.com, use the code NBK, and get a 100% match of your deposit up to $100. R.J. Barrett in the last game, he had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 41% from the field, but he did not hit a 3.
Really?
He didn't hit a 3. 0% from the three-point line. I think he took 3 attempts.
6
attempts.
3 only.
Yeah, he took some attempts.
How many times he went to the line? He goes to the line a lot.
He was 6 for 10 from the line. RJ
10
was.
free throws.
I
That's
think he
what's
should
up.
have had 20. I really do. I'm telling you, like if you rewatch the game and look how many times he got hit, and he was visibly mad because even when he finally got to the line, he was on some like finally you calling it, but he was complaining to the refs, but not in a bad way, like you know what I mean, like
Right.
a quick like. Y'all didn't see that?
Yeah, Tony, I'm just gonna add that I really think because Julius said that like mid-season that the refs are not calling the fouls because he's just strong, and I think RJ is also strong, and they're not flopping
Right.
Listen, Harden is also strong, but that dude is flapping before anyone touches him. He's already,
That's a fact,
That's a
boy.
fact.
and these guys ain't floppers. That's why
Right.
they're not getting the calls. So I'm suggesting them getting acting classes from Spike. So
Something.
next season we ain't gonna be last in free throw attempts.
Something. James Harden versus the Knicks.
I hear a flopping coach.
Right.
Yeah.
James Harden versus the Knicks. 29 points, 10 rebounds, 16 assists. Shot 57% from the field, 43% from three, and he was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. It's tough to deal. It's tough to deal with that, man. Tough to deal with that. Tough to deal with that. But that's the matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen. RJ Barrett, James Harden. Again, go to thrivefantasy.com. Use the code NBK and get a 100% match of your first deposit up to $100. And of course, this is the Game Day pregame show. Go to thegameday.com to get all of your up-to-date sports content and betting odds. As we break down the keys to the game, number one for me, for this team, is to hold the lead. Get a lead. I mean, the Knicks can't hold the lead for nothing, right? Hold the lead. And they've had leads in most of their last probably 8 games. They've held a lead. Right? Hold it.
Yeah.
Take care of the basketball. We just talked about it. 18 turnovers versus Philadelphia in the previous game. They got to take care of the ball. Because even though we looked at the first half and the third quarter when the Knicks had a high number of turnovers, they were hitting shots. But just imagine if they didn't have those turnovers. They might have had a bigger lead because they were hitting shots. You know what I mean? Stay out of foul trouble in the last game against Philadelphia. Mitchell Robinson got in foul trouble. Jericho Sims got in foul trouble. It's probably much easier said than done because of who you're dealing with. But we need those two guys to be on the floor. Defensive rotations, communication, and rebounding the basketball. The Knicks won the rebounding battle in the last game, but their rotations and communication on defense was lacking. They got to step it up. They want to, if they want to try to be successful on this 7-game road trip, they got to step up the defense, man, and then execute down the stretch. The Knicks have been terrible at it all season long. I don't know if it's going to change now, but, that's going to always be a key for the New York Knicks. Execute down the stretch. Anything here that you would like to add or emphasize? Steph, I'll start with you.
I would like to emphasize executing down the stretch. Even when they lose a lead, they're still a lot of times in the game down the stretch. And then here we go with turnovers. Some of them unforced. Here we go. We get into the line and can't hit a foul shot, and bad decision making. So executing down the stretch, we've been there, but we got to execute when we get there. So that's what I would like to emphasize. We may not even be in that position tonight, but if we are, we got to execute down the stretch to have any chance of winning.
Any chance, yeah. Tony?
I'm with the Queen. I'll emphasize the free throws, but I mean, a lot of times, if we made our free throws, we would be in the game, if not win the game.
Right.
And
yeah,
it's like a big effect, especially early in the game. You may think, oh, that's not the reason we lost, but it could have been the thing that stopped the momentum, changed the momentum, or kept the momentum.
Right.
So I think it's big.
Yeah, no doubt. Andy?
Yeah, 3 things, Sim. The free throws, I don't think you should even emphasize that. Listen, we're watching NBA games. This should be top world level, right? So emphasizing free throw shooting is like, you just gotta wear your jersey, right? So I'm not gonna emphasize that. And I'm gonna emphasize though the defending the pick and roll by whatever kind of defense you want to throw at it. Do everything. Not like Tibbs says, I'm going to do everything, and he's just, in the fourth quarter, he's going to throw a Franken for a possession. So do everything possible. Switch it up every 2-3 possessions, whatever, right? And to your point when you said, the first thing that hold the lead, I remember my rest in peace now coach said, whenever we started the game 3-0, like one of us hit a 3, he's like, now you just gotta hold the lead.
Right.
So listen, if that's the case, let us hold the lead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man. Any predictions for tonight?
Oh man,
Andy, I start with you, man.
I think we're gonna win a couple of games on this road trip, but I don't think it's gonna be this one though.
Yeah, I know. This is a tough one. And then it's Phoenix after this. It's tough.
Oh, Phoenix, we're gonna win that one, son. We're gonna win that one.
Okay, all right. Tony.
Yeah, Booker's out right now, right?
Yeah, Booker and CP is out.
I didn't know Booker was out.
Yo, if we ain't taking that one, it's gonna be 0-7.
Listen,
we lost to Orlando.
That's what I'm saying.
And OKC.
That's what I'm saying.
Without their best players,
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Tony, any predictions for tonight?
I feel like it's 50-50. I feel like we could come out and say, hey, we could have won that game. We played well enough to win that game, despite what the final score says. But at the same time, Philly could come in and say, hey, they played well enough to beat us.
Right.
Like, we got to play better than that. So it depends on how both teams take that previous game. If Philly takes it lightly and we are encouraged by it, I think we could win. If Philly is looking at it like, hey, they could have beat us if we didn't execute down the stretch. We need to execute for 4 quarters. It could be an ugly game for us.
Yeah.
If I had to make a prediction, I'm gonna go with the win just because we gotta win sometime. And the broke clock is right twice a day. So
yeah. Steph?
Yeah, I think the Knicks will lose this one. I just think that, we're not hitting foul shots. We're turning the ball over. We're not really making a lot of adjustments. Let's see if there's any adjustments made from last game to this. And, we don't know which Randall we're going to get. We don't know which Mitch we're going to get. So I think we lose this one. But I predict RJ will continue to play well.
Okay. I think we lose the game. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. Who knows? I don't know. I think we lose the game. There's going to come a point in time where most of the players, Randall, Fournier, some of those guys, Burks, where it's like it becomes hard to get up for the games now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because of where you are.
It's going to be a boiling point, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a point where, emotionally you can't really get up for the game. And, I feel like it's coming sooner than later. Because the more they lose, and they're looking, okay, we're 12 games, 12 games below 500, 13, 14 games below 500. And they know that, they're not realistically close to being into the play-in. Right now they're still realistically close, and they probably still feel like, hey, we win 5 in a row, we're right back. But the Knicks play Philadelphia, they go to Phoenix during this 7-game road trip. A couple more games. I mean, we know, it's a tough task for them to get to that play-in, but soon the players are going to know, because the players are always the last one to know. You know what I mean? Because you feel like, as a player, hey, most players, a lot of players feel like, yo, it could happen at any time. We could go on a run. Look, such and such, they losing games too, But at some point soon, I think it's going to hit them like, And then it's going to be hard for them to get up the games. I just hope it doesn't hit them now. Tonight. You know what I'm saying? Hope it don't hit them tonight.
Yeah, because up to this point, that's one of the things I was saying, like, wow, they still coming out, playing. And that's kind of hard to do, when you're losing. I think the Knicks, what is it now? 14 out of 16, or I'm not sure what it is, but They've been
16
losing
out of 18, I believe.
16.
Yeah.
Wow, they've been
No,
losing a lot.
It's 2 out of 18, Tony. 2 out of 18.
Well, I mean, we talk about losses.
Right. We've lost 60. Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to kind of get up. And up to this point, they have been. But you're right. At some point, that would be a win in of itself. To be losing every single game and show up with energy. That's
I think
that's
part
tough
of
to
it
do.
is the run they went on last year. So I think that kind of gives them a little bit of belief in something could, you know what I mean? Like even if they go on a stretch, they probably know we can go on a stretch and not make the play in, but we can also go on a stretch and make the play in. So you know what I mean? Like
Right.
control what's
And they've
in your
been
control.
in games too. So I guess they may feel encouraged by that. Like we've been up 20, we've been up 27, we've been up 28. So
Right. But soon that, it loses its luster, and it's like, here we go. You know what I mean? So we'll see. 2 quick questions I want to ask before we get out of here. One, Deuce McBride did an interview earlier today, shoot around interview, and he said that the coaching staff told him he's a rookie, and he's got to wait on his opportunities.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna be one of the last to know guys.
Deuce, get in there. Oh,
yeah, Deuce is gonna start today's game.
How do you feel about that? Just real quick, 10 seconds, Steph. How you feel about that?
I mean, I think it is true, but rookies have gotten in. Grimes got in last year. Obi and IQ got in. So, and we hurting at that at that position. So I do think there's some minutes we can find for him.
Yeah.
Not even starting, we can find some minutes.
Find some minutes, especially right now at this point.
Right,
Tony.
I like to see him at this point as well, but the concept of what he was told, I agree with 100%. Like you gotta earn your weight, and you gotta wait your turn, and you gotta be ready when your opportunity comes.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think the surrounding players, if he watched the other guys get their turn and work through it, he should be encouraged by that. If it's not like all the rookies are sitting and nobody got a chance. You know what I mean? So it should be light at the end of the tunnel for him.
Right. Andy?
Listen, Sim, for me, it's a little bit harder probably because we saw him in the G League. He is averaging crazy numbers. I know it's the G League, but the efficiency, it doesn't matter if it's G League, if it's not G League. He's shooting crazy efficient numbers there. And for him not to get even a couple of minutes of burn, and I realize that, like you said before, they're thinking that there might be the planes might be in reach, but if that windows or door closes, I think if you're not going to give minutes to Deuce, it's not he's going to ask for a trade, right? But you might upset a kid and kind of burn him, because if he's going to realize, and the rest of the team is going to realize, that there's basically nothing to play for, and he's not going to get minutes, then it's going to be hard for him at least.
Yeah.
Everybody has a shot the whole season. The guys lost the season basically, and if he's not going to get minutes, then it's going to be he might be upset.
Right. And look, me, it's that concept, I 100% agree with that concept. I think it's good for young guys to have to earn their stripes. It creates an appreciation for the game. But then there has to come a point where you're like, all right, we're going to put him out there and give him the opportunity. As long as he's putting the work in like he's supposed to, there has to come a point when you give him the opportunity. You know what I mean? And this is, I think, a point where you give him the opportunity to get out there. But I totally agree with that concept. Earn your stripes, earn some appreciation for the game. We're not just going to give anything to you. You know what I mean? But I think we're at the point where it's like, let the kid get on the floor.
Yeah, but Sim, just to add also to this, because Tib said after the All-Star break, everything's on the table, and we saw literally Taj not, playing, and Jericho Sims got minutes.
Right, I agree.
So, it's like Sims would be working harder in the practices, whatever, like earn this spot, sooner than Deuce. Listen, Deuce was in the G League and he was balling. Sims' numbers on the G League wasn't crazy like that.
Right.
And just the thing that Alec Burks isn't a pure point guard, that might be rubbing him, the wrong way also. Because if you have like 5 point guards in front of you, okay, you got to beat them out one by one, right? Meanwhile, those guys are not even point guards. Even Quickly, if he looks at Quickly probably in practice, he's like, listen, you're a combo guard. You might be better than me, but you're not a pure point guard, right? So, he might be asking for minutes. And if I was him, I wouldn't be, I would be upset if I won't get minutes if the games are like really meaningless.
Yeah, no
The
doubt.
only thing with Deuce, though, I think he's another guy who's a point guard based off his stature and not necessarily based off of, his ability. He's not going to grow, so he's stuck in that role. Not saying he's not more of a point guard than a Quickly or a Burks. I'm just saying if he was 2 inches taller, he might not even be a point guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the last thing before I get up out of here, RD Knicks, thank you for the super chat. He said, Do you guys think it is becoming worrisome that Randall struggles when RJ's having a good game, even though RJ loves to use the pick and roll? I mean, I don't
It's
know.
more worrisome that he's struggling, period, to me.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's been struggling, period. I don't know if it's just when RJ's having a good game. I think he's just been struggling. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, does he struggle only when RJ has a good game? Because he's just been struggling. You know what I'm saying? I think, it's if he's playing well and then he has a bad game or doesn't play well or doesn't score efficiently, let's say that, anytime that RJ is scoring, then I think he can ask the question, but there's no rhyme or reason to Julius Randle and his inefficiency.
Yeah, and they've played well. They've had at least 2 games where both of them scored high 20s, 30s, and it looked good when they both are playing well. I mean, it could be, them still having to figure out who should initiate the offense, how to play off of, they probably have to get better at it. But I agree. I don't think the struggles of Randall is tied to RJ.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Not at all. And as a matter of fact, they had 2 good games, like back to back, and then RJ hurt his ankle. Right, and he went out All-Star break, and then there you go. We'll see. Trust me, we're probably gonna get a chance to see it next year, ladies and gentlemen, because we were looking at the salary cap the other day.
Right.
And it looks like the Knicks there's a good chance the Knicks is running it back next year with maybe another point guard out there. A real good chance that the Knicks are running it back next year, unless they make a big trade somewhere. But
or the salary cap, expectations are way explodes.
Or the Knicks decide they're just gonna break it down. But hey, listen, go. We're not trying to hurt your feelings. Just go look at the salary cap, and you'll know that most of these guys are on the books for next season, and they don't get off the books until 2023. Then that's when the Knicks can, switch up the roster a little bit. So, get used to it, ladies and gentlemen. You might want to get used to it because, this group might be back next year. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll catch you on the post-game show about 10:15 or so. And talk to you then, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. Peace.
This is MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is MBK, nothing but Knicks.